2025! Is your sword ready? It's a Mars year. I will turn this anger into something beautiful. It's exciting. I mean, coming off of that karmic year, that Saturn year, it was lesson and lesson and lesson after lesson.
Here's another lesson for you.
Delays, everything just felt kind of drawn and dragged out, like nothing was really moving forward. Things were kind of like you're just having to test your endurance. Like, can you endure this season of your life where you're being asked to show up and learn these lessons so you can master the knowledge and take them into your new chapters? And the new chapters start now. 9 is the final number in numerology, which also indicates endings, right? Separations, cutting, final, right? Before 2026 will be a sun year, starting with the number 1, and we're starting fresh. Mars is a sharp and aggressive, penetrating force. And with Martian influence, you're gonna be hit exactly where you need to be hit for you to be like, oh, I need to have a defense here. It's kind of like when you get sick and the virus comes or the infection comes in and your cells, your blood cells and your white blood cells are trying to like come up with these defenses to defend. Mars rules blood, by the way. That's what Mars does. That's what Mars is a challenging energy. It's like a coaching energy. It's like get up and go. Doesn't matter if you're sick, doesn't matter what's holding you back, doesn't matter if you're mad about something, doesn't matter if something isn't going your way, you have to show up and show out. I talked about it in my 6th house video and how Mars rejoices in the 6th house because every day you show up for work because you got to get your bills paid. This work is 6th house. Like you got to show up. That's something you're going to do daily. That's how you have to show up for yourself this year. Have your sword ready, your katana ready to fight back anything that's going to try to deter you and hold you back. Because Mars, naturally associated with the 1st house and 8th house, Aries and Scorpio energy, it's all about your drive, okay? Anything that's gonna slow you down, which is what happened in Saturn year, things starting to slow us down or consume too much of our energy, that's all getting cut away, stripped away, because now there's new direction, there's new focus, there's a new goal, there's a new mission, there's something. Mars is on a mission. Mars carries out the duties of the sun. So 2025 in numerology associates with Mars, okay? Let your training arc begin. But you have to remember, you have to be available to yourself to do it. All my empaths out there, all my people pleasers out there, you're so available to other people, you forgot to be available to yourself. Your mission requires you to be available to yourself. Anyone else will come in as an asset and help support, lift, and encourage you to keep showing up as yourself for yourself. Things that aren't doing that this year, you're kind of like. But let's look at the astrology and the major points with my whiteboard. And we're just talking Q1 here. I'm gonna sit down. So January through March, we're doing a Q1 check-in. Of course, the whole year is a Mars year, but we're gonna focus on our quarters. Let's look at our goals, make them tangible. Let's just look at the first quarter here because there's a lot of change that happens at the end of the first quarter. But coming into the new year, you could probably still be feeling like you're dealing with certain lessons, people, places, and things, you're tying up loose ends still from 2024. I knew a lot of people that were like, I'm not even going out this year for New Year's. It's because of this Mars and Cancer energy, which I'll talk about. So it's a Mars year, we already discussed. Mars is currently retrograde. So we're starting this Mars year with a Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde, what are we doing? Revamping, revitalizing our drive. Where have we been lacking? What have we been doing with our drive? Mars in Cancer is debilitated. It's Mars retrograde in Cancer. This is an emotional place for Mars to be, but because it's debilitated and retrograde, it's gonna give us some sort of benefit because that's what happens when it's debilitated and all, it's like two negatives making a positive. Debilitated and retrograde. It's more so doing with the psyche and our emotional attachments because Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon has to do with our emotions. So what emotional attachments do we tend to cling onto and drive towards that we need to let go of, or we need to revamp or renegotiate the terms of that? I'm sorry for my ring light being in the center of this. I will fix that for the next video, but just listen to what I'm saying. First week, this is the big one. Entering 2025, Mars is opposing Pluto. That axis in your horoscope, you're gonna feel this like big shift in your psychology. Like, oh my God, whatever those houses are, like you're gonna feel a shift in how you're gonna feel like something might be out of your control. It might be feeling faded. Like God's hand is here. You're facing and confronting your emotions that transforms Pluto, the framework in Capricorn that you've been relying on so long. What have you been holding on? That kind of base that you've been having for so long. Mars in Cancer opposing Pluto there is going to shift that in the first week. Mars is a warrior, like I said, needs direction, needs a mission. So give yourself that goal to focus on that you will rely on no matter what mood you're in for the year. We always have like so many New Year's resolutions. We want to do this, and that. Make sure there's one thing that you want to see grow in your life, that you want to complete the mission. You want to say, yes, I did that you focus on and you dedicate to for the year. Because if you think about Mars as a warrior and you think about war in general, those soldiers and warriors they can't care about how scared they are or how they're feeling or if they have a headache. No, they have to go and they have to execute. And Mars is going to execute. It's going to follow through with the mission. It's going to go through with it. So you have to learn how to wield your power in a way that suits you. And that's what Mars retrograde is kind of teaching us, because we're human beings. We're so obsessed with like comfort and things being easy and all that stuff. No. What's going to happen for you this year relies on you not taking the easy path. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. With this Mars year, you want to look to the place Mars rules in your horoscope. Okay, and those are going to be kind of like your focus areas depending on where Mars actually is situated, but those are going to be kind of highlighted themes in your life. Mars re-enters Gemini January 20th, and we're back into the intellectual realm. We're back into our skill set. We're back into certain conversations that need to be had, certain connections, because Gemini is the air sign, all about connections. We're revisiting certain connections back when it enters Gemini January 20th. And depending on where it is in your horoscope, it's going to be a connection to that theme. So, and then it goes direct at the end of February 23rd. And then that's when you're going to start to see, okay, like now things are starting to gear up. I'm able to move. Like this is going to start to feel like a new year. You're going to start to feel the new beginnings because Mars will be direct. Another significant transit in Q1, we get Venus in Pisces, January 28th. It's going to be meeting with Rahu, the North Node. Venus and Rahu are kind of kiki buddy. This is great energy for creativity. This is great energy for finding innovative ways to make money, taking an innovative approach to relationships, getting kind of like this genius and compassion, because Pisces has to do with like a lot of compassion and releasing boundaries, having more compassion and self-compassion in your relationships moving forward. Like Rahu's gonna penetrate and meet with Venus, and Venus is gonna be, you know, really hedonistic in certain qualities. But then the big part is that Venus goes retrograde March 2nd. So we have Venus in Pisces till like May 31st of the year, because Venus is gonna retrograde. So we just got off the Mars retrograde. We're cool for like a week. And then we get Venus retrograde March 2nd. And you know, like I said, this Venus and Rahu together is great energy, revitalizing values, your investments, finances could take an upheaval, or you're taking an innovative way to be making finances. It's a big blessing, honestly, because it's going to be making a Parivartan yoga or mutual exchange with Jupiter and Taurus, Venus and Pisces. They're going to be talking to each other. So the two places in your horoscope where Pisces and Taurus are, you're going to see this amplification, this benefic influence coming down, especially if you're in creative fields or publishing fields or anything having to do with connecting with other people, relating to other people, women, things like that. Your relationships in general will definitely be upgraded because Rahu wants to take an innovative approach. It's not always bad. It's not always like, oh, deception, lying, deceit. No, it's taking a new way, like getting a new download about something, like an aha moment. That's what Rahu does. It's rebellious as well. You're going to rebel against the norm of what you have been doing or what's been comfortable for you, and starting to see different sides, different worlds, different opportunities when it comes to Venusian themes. Jupiter direct February 4th. That'll be great, especially in tandem with Venus and Pisces being direct for a little while. For the month of February, things can start to move there. Saturn in Pisces, March 29th. Now, everybody and their mama is concerned about March 29th, as you should be. I mean, there's a stellium happening in Pisces, super stellium, Saturn moving into Pisces, been in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years. So it's gonna be a new moon eclipse, March 29th, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Rahu, Saturn, all in Sidereal Pisces, lorded by the Jupiter and Taurus. That's gonna be a big change in finances, our health as a collective, and as well as our stability, our resources, and what we eat. So I would be careful, and I said this in my other video, about what you're eating, what you're consuming. going out to eat, dairy products, milk, meat, anything like that. Those are all Taurian themes because Taurus is represented by a cow. So anything that provides sustenance can be infected or dealt with. The reason why I don't think it's going to be that bad is because of the mutual exchange, but Venus will be retrograde, so that is going to be throwing in some wild card energy. Yeah, this quarter one, it's not too crazy. It's really about a rebrand. You're gonna hear me talk about that for a lot of the signs, dealing with the rebrand, because Mars retrograde is the big theme, like reinvestigating, because Mars investigates, penetrates, dives deep into something. That's what we're focusing on Q1, okay? Much relationships do become a focus, especially when Mars goes back into Gemini, and then we'll square Venus in Pisces. Not too tight, but you know, it'll get there towards March and everything. So relationships and your need for independence, which Mars represents independence as well, those two will have some conflict. So you're gonna have to compromise or create a solution in those areas in your life. Let's dive into each of the signs. We're gonna look at your ascendant, moon, and sun, do that order because ascendant is what's happening in your life physically. You always wanna look at the transfer of your physical ascendant to see what's happening on your life path. And then moon, because what's happening in your life physically due to your emotional response, how you're feeling, how you're processing, what the energies are doing that make you feel some type of way. Then you're gonna have to respond because moon is how we react and how we respond emotionally on your journey. So that's your emotional nature. And then from the sun, what's happening in your life due to your radiance and how you choose to shine. So recognition, your soul journey, how you shine. That's why you would check from the sun. I'm old school, sun, moon, rising, Western. I do practice Vedic astrology, but I do believe you can look at your horoscope through sun sign. It's not going to be as profound and precise as your moon or rising sign, but the sun sign will definitely show. And as a bonus, you can check from your Mahadasha Lord. For example, if you're running Venus Dasha, whatever sign your Venus is in, make that the ascendant and check the horoscope through the transits through that. Okay, let's dive in. Sidereal Aries, quarter one. You're dealing with matters of the heart, clearing out old comforts that you might have had from within and strategizing a new way to reach new heights. Your chart lord Mars is transiting your 4th house retrograde and is gazing directly at your 10th house and aspecting Saturn in your 11th house of gains, wishes, fulfillment. Nothing's moving quite yet, but you're planning, you're envisioning, you're brainstorming, you're experimenting, because Rahu's been plunging into your 12th house for the last year and some change, generating this impulse within to like share your divine gifts and reach new heights, like get your dreams and manifest them. Have more compassion for your dreams and not sleep on your dreams as much. Ketu in your 6th has been requiring you to change the way you've been going about routine, health habits and such. Mars is opposing Pluto first week in January and will happen again in April, Q2. So whatever foundations you're laying down now will begin to show their power, their power manifesting and gearing up right in April. So Q1 of this year, you'll kind of be in this hermit mode with chart lord in the 4th, laying down new cement on your foundation, your mental bliss, anything you've been holding on to in the past, some past things coming up, and you're clearing them out and looking at them with a new perspective. Once Jupiter and Mars go direct in February, you'll feel like the race is beginning to start and things will start to pick up again in your career and you'll feel satisfied mentally. It'll be busy, but you have that natural warrior spirit to go through it all. By the end of March, when we have Saturn shifting and these mega eclipses, you'll feel a new identity emerge through shedding skin of your old self. No more self-sabotaging, no more sleeping on yourself, Saturn moving into the 12th house. Venus will enter your 12th house at the end of January, stay there through May. It may require some sacrifice on your end for the sake of your partner or any relationships you may have, or creative commitment. You might have to sacrifice certain things in order to fulfill those commitments, which will be well worth it. And then it'll be time for like a retreat. Maybe you plan a getaway or a vacation with you and a loved one by the end of this Q1. Mars will retrograde back into your 3rd house starting January 20th or 21st, depending on where you live, and give you a pep to your step regarding your courage and your skills. You'll feel more curious to enhance your skills. Your communication will be very direct. People will understand you. You'll be very passionate and convincing. And this is what's gonna make you stand out to achieve your goals. Mars rules your 1st and 8th houses, and this is your Mars year. So the house of your direction, self, identity, and the house of transformation, other people's resources, and elimination get highlighted this year. Those are your focus themes. So the more you stick to yourself, you assert yourself, and you keep that ambition going, you're gonna find a lot of power being developed as well at that same time. Sidereal Taurus. Jupiter in Taurus has made you feel lively, vibrant, expanding the Taurian themes. Maybe you're a little bit more hedonistic. You want to go enjoy. You want to go have a good time somewhere. You're indulging in food and pleasures, and maybe you're going to the spa. I don't know. It's amplifying those matters, and you're having to wait and be patient because Taurus is all about moving slow and consuming and taking your time. So starting off the year with Mars transiting your third house of courage in Sidereal Cancer, of expression, schematics. You're diving deep into these emotional realms of your expression. Some past rooted, maybe early childhood themes relating to your mother, relating to communication regarding how you translate or even communicate or connect to your emotions in a way that gives you this natural artistic flair, because Tauruses are natural artistics. Picking back up on old hobbies or anything that made you feel free instead of relying on anyone or anything external to reflect that back to you. Jupiter in Taurus is also retrograde, so you can't rely on your charm and your je ne sais quoi to get you through life. You have to produce a result, and you're at that point in your life where you're recognizing that with your chart lord with Saturn starting off the year. Venus is in Aquarius. With Saturn in your 10th house, you're getting more serious about your legacy and what you actually want to be known for. And this devotion will help you attract beautiful and long-lasting connections when Venus meets with Rahu in your 11th house starting at the end of January. Mars-Pluto opposition in your 3rd house, 9th house axis. What you already know is powerful. Doubt deters you more, and you can waste time just being doubtful, looking at details that don't really matter. Like, focus on what you do know and what you can do, and that can aid in your journey and your philosophy, your 9th house. That can help push you through to something else. 9th house is all about the journey. It's your fortune, okay? It's time to go now. Whatever it is you've been holding back, like, gather the courage, the strength, how you want to do it, make that plan, write it down, and you'll be able to express it. Venus will be in Pisces for a long time, okay? So utilize that energy in your 11th house to network, connect with other people, go out your comfort zone a little bit. Because Jupiter in Taurus, I'm telling you, it's expanding your need for comfort. Mars retrograde, and especially when Mars goes direct again, you're gonna be feeling this need like, okay, I can get back out there. I can be more out and about. And your local sphere even. Mars will retrograde back into your 2nd house in Gemini, making finances, self-worth, and organizing these things a focus for you, how you want to organize your time, how you want to organize your finances, and your gifts and how you're going to share them, because 2nd house has to do with your natural talents as well. Mars rules your 12th and 7th houses, so the more you connect to that divine cosmic energy, God, and your faith, you will develop new commitments, fated connections that will help you on your path, that'll help stabilize you. You need a stabilizing force right now with all that confusion, because you have a lot of confusing things going on. And through these fated connections, you'll find more stability and direction in your life. Sidereal Gemini, Jimmy Jams. This is an expansive time for you. I'm not gonna lie. Jupiter in your 12th house, right? Retrograde. Mars retrograde in your 2nd house. 12th house is the house of loss, expanding that, right? But if you have faith, you'll be guided in the right way. Mars in the 2nd house is making you spend. You can be spending impulsively and emotionally. So calm down. You can be making abrupt decisions. Just wait. Let things flow. No shopping sprees. Holidays are over. Starting the new year with this Mars-Pluto opposition in your 2nd and 8th house axis requires you to rely on your natural gifts and talents to set the foundation for you to gain power in the future. Any psychological blocks relating to your self-worth, your ability to use your resources in a meaningful way instead of wasting them. Talents are to be used, not wasted, by the way. Q1, quarter one is all about setting new rules and arrangements for yourself. Rahu in your 10th house is making you aware of the new approach you need to make for your career and public facing stuff. You need an innovative approach, something needs to change, something needs to be more dynamic. Ketu in the 4th house is detaching you from all that overthinking and over ruminating on the past that has kept you paralyzed. All these structures and things that you need to know. You need to know why. No, you don't need to know the why behind everything or understand everything that crosses your path. Choose to focus more on what will grow in your life. Focus on savings and accumulating things that have value and actual compassion and actual care for you. Hold on to the things that actually bring care and sustenance into your life. This Mars year will help you gain courage, focus, and change your routines overall. Venus moving into your 10th house with Rahu will increase your appeal in public settings and give you some new relationships that'll help amplify your potential there. But you need to lay down that framework during the first few weeks of the year. Starting off the year with your chart lord in the 6th house in Scorpio requires diligence and focus on daily tasks that transform your path, eliminating certain habits. Scorpio has to do with elimination, any bad habits, cold turkey things. It's good, you're supported with that there. Get in tune with your health and wellness. Mars will re-enter your 1st house starting January 21st or 20th, depending on where you live, which will amplify your determination to stay grounded, focused. You have a direction, you're confident, you have the physical power to get back into the things that support you, your health routines, your physical activity. Mars rules your 11th and 6th houses, so this year we're tending to those 6th house matters. That'll help your 11th house matters, tending to the routine, our health, our wellness, making sure we're staying spiritually sane. And then the 11th house matters, the gains, the networks, and the growth in your career will happen naturally as well if you are diligent in both areas. But I'm telling you, with Gemini and even Mercurial energy, the overthinking has to stop. You can't be hesitating. You're gonna end up dead, You can't hesitate. You gotta just be like, all right, go. I'm not saying be impulsive or crazy, but just some things do not need to occupy the mental real estate in your mind. You just have to let go, chalk it up to the game, keep it pushing. Sidereal Cancer, 1st quarter. Y'all really going through a rebrand. There's a few signs going through a rebrand, but one of them is definitely you because Mars is retrograding in your 1st house, okay? And there's a Mars retrograde with Pluto opposition in your 1st house, 7th house axis, being forced to let go of certain commitments or relationships that ultimately have changed the way you view yourself. Take the information, take the lesson, integrate it. With Jupiter blowing up your 11th house of gains, you're only getting these gains if you're putting yourself out there, if you're putting yourself in those environments to get the gains, okay? Like I said, to the Taurus people, Jupiter and Taurus will make you just stay lazy. It'll expand your need to just be comfortable, chill, everything's fine. But Jupiter will give you opportunities if you put yourself out there, if you're networking, if you're climbing, if you're trying to be a content creator, boom, if you're trying to, get that promotion, you're talking to the right people, you're showing up to the right events, you're doing the right seminars, those types of things. Opportunities come when you're prepared and not hiding. Your approach to life in general is taking a huge change, which might require some isolation, especially with Mars going back into your 12th house, January 21st. Rahu Ketu in your 3rd house, 9th house axis has been begging you to take your personal expression and genius seriously. You're deeply connected to your journey in life and you have a story to tell. Please share it. If you're going towards a higher education degree, or you're going to school, or if you have something that you want to do in your life, if you want to change your path, that's what Rahu Ketu is asking you to do, asking you to figure out the information with Ketu in your 3rd house, get the information, get the data, and make it part of your routine to express, to share, to dive deep and investigate and find that genius of what you're good at, and so that your path can expand into a new way that you couldn't even imagine because you had to create it. Although painful sometimes, expressing yourself is like unlocking new versions of yourself. Saturn transiting your 8th house is finishing up its transformation on your fears, and Mars is aspecting Saturn, requiring a lot of effort, okay? Jump into the fire and recognize the love you direct outwards needs to be directed inward. Mars will re-enter your 12th house January 21st, like I said, making a final sweep in your subconscious. You'll be taking a new approach to these divine lessons that allow you to connect deeper with God and your divine gifts overall. Otherwise, you'll be at a loss again if you don't listen. You have to listen and not repeat because you're comfortable. Chart Lord in the 7th to kick off the new year with your chart Lord's moving every 2.5 days. You're starting off with the chart Lord in the 7th. It can feel like a lonely time period, but powerful transformations and relationships help guide and redirect your focus in powerful ways. Mars rules your 5th and 10th houses. That's your yoga karaka, placing a highlight on how your creativity, expression, knowledge, and passions can be linked to your career development and legacy. Leo. You're letting go slowly but surely, but it's just taking extra time and effort. You guys are one of the fixed signs, are quite stubborn, okay? So Mars is doing doing this big one in your 12th house of subconscious in Cancer, retrograde. Kicking off the year, Mars-Pluto opposition in your 12th house, 6th house axis. You are not relinquishing your power to anything that gets you off your routine. You can't do it right now. You can't afford it. Your obsession with control will be tested because 12th house transits undo us and force us to let go of what we've been holding on to. You will resist, but Mars is cleaning you up, tempting you, making you experience new sensations that you haven't felt in a while, but you need to feel them. Don't worry, you'll revisit these things when Mars goes direct and remerges into your 12th house in quarter 2. April will come back into your 12th house. It's gonna go to your 11th, it's gonna come back to your 12th. Rahu Ketu in your 2nd and 8th house axis, enticing you to take risks, being consumed by what other people have to offer. What other people have. You're taking these risks. You're very curious about what other people have to offer, what they got going on. And you're kind of detaching from what you have, changing your self-worth, changing how you value yourself. This will enhance your career because Jupiter's transiting your 10th house, but due to Jupiter being retrograde, you aren't inclined to take as much risks as you might have last year. You might play it safe, which is okay. But you'll be forced by the end of quarter 1 to take more risks and surrender. You've been serious about relationships, commitments, but splurging here and there, and you can feel lonely at times, but you still show up because Saturn's been in your 7th house. Mars will retrograde back into your 11th house, making you revisit certain connections to see if the bond can be made deeper. The 11th house is very social, networks, maybe a promotion, something like that. Mars retrograde will make you revisit that. Mars penetrates and investigates. And Mars rules your 4th and 9th houses of your philosophy and outlook and your mental peace. So it'll all be changed what brings you comfort, if you focus on your mental peace and stability and what brings you comfort, your outlook on life can change. What's very peaceful to you, what's bringing you like emotional clarity in your life, instead of focusing all on work, things, because Leos love to work. It's just, finding something that brings you a little bit of peace. But your 4th house is ruled by Scorpio, so those things can be a little bit tough and hard to confront sometimes. And Saturn will be moving into your 8th house of transformations, bodily transformations. You're getting serious about what other people might have, maybe materializing something there, making a commitment, something there, taking people seriously, taking yourself seriously in terms of relationships, investments, risks, and things like that. Maybe you're not spending as much money because it's going to affect your 2nd house. You're taking it easy, spending money on different things just to enjoy your life a little bit more. Virgos, quarter 1. Sidereal Virgo, you've been going through a rebrand since October of 2023, when the node shifted into your 1st house, 7th house axis. Kicking off the new year with Ketu still in your 1st house, Rahu in the 7th. It's been there for a while, changing the way you perceive yourself in relation to other people. You are upgrading and elevating your life path in ways you're not used to, because instead of being someone people can rely on all the time, you've been prioritizing yourself. Saturn has been in your 6th house, putting pressure on where you waste your time, your routines. Mars in your 11th house has been cutting away any unnecessary emotional connections that you've been entertaining. Do I really want this? Do I really need this? Is this person really necessary in my life? These are the themes you're exploring these days. Getting more gains in career, you're moving forward in career. These are all the things you're trying to reprogram and reconnect to. Jupiter has been in your 9th house, expanding your moral compass to align with values that feel more secure, sturdy, and long lasting. You may have picked up a new course or plan to elevate your education in some way, and these newfound skills and knowledge or practices will help enhance your career and expand it in quarter 2. Chart Lord transit the 3rd house of courage, schematics, communications, and skill set. When you're starting off the year, Mercury and Scorpio in your 3rd house. You're very detail oriented, you're very organized, you're just focused, which is a good way to start the year for you. You're doing this rebrand, you're committed to the rebrand, you already started. There's things that could have been happening that have made you just be like, I can't go back to what I used to be, which is good. Mars will re-enter your 10th house starting January 21st, allowing changes for how you manage your career and work-life balance to become a forefront. There's some certain conversations you might need to have at home, certain things you might need to nitpick on, just to make sure that everyone and everything that you're committed to is for your highest good. Sidereal Libras, 1st quarter, you've been prioritizing your healing like never before over the last year. This is due to Ketu and Rahu being in your 12th and 6th house axis, and Jupiter rampaging through your 8th house, creating some psychological changes and crises that you have to deal with through faith and faith alone. You've been able to fix your credit, gain more control of your finances and things like that, more opportunities, loans, things like that. And being able to take care of others as needed, take the rest you need to realign and shift your focus on your path. Maybe some health issues came up, Health procedures came up that changed your outlook on life in general. Mars retrograde in your 10th house is allowing you to have more control over your career and the direction that it's going in. Things from the past that you need to let go of that have been having power over for you for a while. So you're kicking off the year with the Mars-Pluto opposition and chart lord in the 5th with Saturn. It requires a serious outlook and approach to who you have in your life and if they're an asset or liability. You're more serious about making money instead of socializing. You're nurturing the more long-lasting bonds in your life and tending to your personal passions. Your chart lord will be retrograde for a while this year, which can create some doubts, but as long as you stick to your routine, you should be good to go. Like, stick to it, make sure you're making good health habits and things like that. Mars will enter your 9th house again January 21st, creating excitement and opportunity to enhance and excel your knowledge, maybe opportunities for travel, which you will utilize when Mars enters your 10th house. Mars rules your 2nd and 7th houses. These are Marka houses in Vedic astrology, dealing with death, loss, because both these houses require you to spend and extract. So you're gonna have to cut some certain people off through being courageous. Watch your tongue, be mindful of what you eat and what you consume can have a profound effect on your life this year. Sidereal Scorpios kicking off the new year with Mars in your 9th house opposing Pluto in your 3rd house, plus Mercury in your 1st house. Your actions are misunderstood sometimes, but they serve a higher purpose right now for you. Like, you're the only one that understands what you're really doing. You're crunching numbers, data, making plans, asking questions, investigating, being more curious about others. You're more expressive and analytical. With Jupiter in your 7th house, relationships have been a huge theme in 2024 and coming into 2025. Different options, opportunities, and also lessons. You feel like your goals and dreams aren't making huge moves because Saturn in your 4th is aspecting your 1st of your life path, aspecting your 10th house too. It's just delays, blockages there. You're having to like kind of be still, and y'all don't really like that because Scorpio energy is always trying to go, work, grind. Things kind of be like slow and stagnant, which is good. Like, calm your nervous system down, enjoy. Let the psychological reset happen. You're changing your perspective. Mars is out there in your 9th house, okay? January 21st, Mars moves back into your 8th house. You'll seek something valuable that someone else offers. So this 8th house has to do with other people's resources. That's a source of fuel for you that you might not have known you needed, but you need to go back and see it again. So make sure you're integrating these philosophical changes with Mars in your 9th, cleaning up your outlook, your emotional changes, what you've held on to for so long. You're changing that philosophical outlook. Mars is penetrating deep into the 9th house, being like, look, this is the way you need to see things now. This is how you need to believe. This is how you need to go. And this is gonna allow you to expand your life. So make sure you're integrating, okay? Q2 will be more exciting. Stick to your guns. All these decisions will benefit you. K2's been in your 11th house. Rahu's been in your 5th house. Been a flirty time. You're not really super social, into networking, going outside, but maybe not a lot of gains in career or possibility with gains in career if you've enhanced your skills. But you may be more so focused on little flings, passions here and there, focusing on collecting things and gaining more expression for yourself. But you're learning a lot through other people, which is good. Jupiter in your 7th house. So be sure to integrate the knowledge or be forced to repeat these lessons come again at the end of Q1, especially with the stellium happening in your 5th house. Mars rules your 1st and 6th houses, so your identity, expression, and physical body will go through many changes this year. Diet, routine, your work even, it might go through a big change. And you'll be forced to serve others and work environment. Sidereal Sagittarius. You gotta quit cold turkey. Whatever it is. You begin this year with the Mars-Pluto opposition in your 2nd and 8th house axis. 2nd house, what you consume, what you hold on to, what you accumulate. 8th house, addiction, psychological fears, what other people have that you take in and consume. The axes work together, okay? Mars retrograde is cleaning up any psychological habits, addictions, impulses, and codependent behaviors that have kept you stagnant. You've been feeling this for a while, you know, Mars has been in Cancer end of 2024. So this new year is when you're kickstarting this new lifestyle, cleansing, detoxing, healing, purification. This is needed for you. Your chart lord has been in your 6th house, making you more diligent, hardworking, and focused on routine and spiritual practice more than ever, like having some sort of faith or connecting more to higher education, knowledge, wisdom. You're seeing like a lot of value in that. Rahu has been invading your 4th house, it can cause a little bit of anxiety about the future since October 2023, but it's still going to be here through May, so through Q1. but it's providing deep insights to your heart and compassion itself, because it's Rahu and Pisces. You're having more self-compassion for yourself and other people. You're not putting so much pressure on yourself. You're not judging yourself so much as before, because you're making those right steps. So when you make the right steps, you see the judgment and the fear starts to fade away. You're not so focused on maintaining a certain image or being perfect or anything like that. You're having, you're not being so critical of yourself and others. Possible job promotion or job shift might have occurred due to your diligence, and we've been quarter one doubling down on that influence. Whatever you've learned, whatever you've accumulated, whatever you've gathered, you're going to be able to propel that and boost yourself for a new career or even a new home, because you're going to have this beautiful stellium in your 4th house at the end of Q1. It hasn't been much of a social time, but in Q2 you can expect it for sure, and I'll make a separate video on that. Continue to hibernate and heal. You're still processing and adapting to your new self. You've been through a lot financially, emotionally, and spiritually, and you've passed the test with your resilience, especially if you're here now. When Mars moves back into your 7th house at the end of January, you'll be forced to negotiate some terms regarding your commitments, contracts, and relationships, some communication, the way you're connecting to your relationships and commitments. Like I said, Gemini is all about that connection, that understanding. What is the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? Like that type of feeling. But with this new psyche that you're downloading now, with Mars transiting your 8th house, you'll be well prepared to make the proper decisions for you, because Mars transiting the 8th house is great. It's gonna make you actually do and handle business regarding 8th house themes, okay? Fears, addictions, habits, loss of power, not feeling powerful. Mars rules your 12th and 5th houses, so this could be a year where your spirituality invites you to let go of your old concept of yourself and move towards a more innovative and against the grain approach on your path. You might even start to have kids or focus on kids and traveling abroad, because 12 houses has to do with that too, or making plans to do so, or just being more faith-based, as you naturally are, because your lifestyle gurus naturally. So yeah. Sidereal Capricorn, 1st quarter. You're cutting people off for your own good. You've worked hard, like Cancers, you're dealing with these abrupt cuts, but you might be doing the cutting this time. So you've worked too hard to be distracted at this point and influenced by commitments that no longer serve you, especially if it's past stuff coming up. Cancer has to do with memories and past and emotions, things that we're bonded to. So you're having to finally decide okay, we gotta cut, we gotta stop, we gotta, especially since everyone's always thinking, the new year, I gotta do it. You're probably thinking these things. Chart Lord is in your 2nd house. You need to devote to your personal gifts with your own capabilities, because Saturn in the 2nd, starting off the new year, you need to manifest some of these physical results for yourself based on these talents that you have. So kicking off the year with Mars-Pluto opposition in your 1st 7th house axis, you're renegotiating the terms of your power and how they produce a result in your commitments. Where is your energy being allocated to the point where you're actually seeing a result in your life? So Rahu and Ketu have been dancing in your 3rd house, 9th house axis, potentially driving you to go back to school, especially Rahu in the 3rd, wanting to learn more, getting more certifications, turn to old hobbies that you might have abandoned before, and now you're using these skills in a way that brings a sense of stability and practicality in your life or excitement. Mars jumps back into your 6th house on January 21st, and you will be met with certain opportunities that require more time and effort from you. Maybe a new job, maybe a negotiation for a job, maybe you connect with someone that helps you get a job. And you're free for the opportunity. It's going to require some more energy from you. By the end of Q1, you will have a stellium in your 3rd house. This is a stimulating time indeed for your hobbies, expressions, and studies to take you to a different level in your life, lorded by the Jupiter in your 5th house. Lots of movement in your local sphere, romantic sphere, feeling confident, optimistic, and expressive. So Jupiter is trining your 1st house. Mars year rules your 11th and 4th house. The mission lies in your mental peace and happiness, allowing you to fuel your creativity, thus creating an expansion in your networks. Sidereal Aquarius, 1st quarter, starting off the year with Venus gracing your 1st house. It's in your 1st house coming in. You're feeling beautiful, you're magnetic, you're changing your aesthetic, allowing you to devote to your passions, because Venus is a Rajasic creative planet. 1st house has that Rajasic energy too. Mars-Pluto opposition in your 6th and 12th house axis, allowing you to release outdated subconscious beliefs that have delayed your routine. You're cutting it, an ability to create a system for you to connect with. Now, your mission in this big system that you're creating for yourself is one that you're emotionally connected to, something that you're actually passionate about. Aquarius are for the people or whatever, because what they choose to devote to, commit to, and be able to put a part of their routine, they have to be passionate about. I talk about the 6th house energy in my 6th house video. Saturn in your 1st house has caused you to reinvent yourself materially, new workout routine, weight loss journey, anything like that. But by the end of Q2, your chart lord moves into your 2nd house, where a focus on by the end of Q1, I'm sorry. Your chart lord moves into your second house where focus on finances, stability, and materializing your personal gifts become a focus. Rahu Ketu been your second and eighth house axis, highlighting your needing to trust and have faith, even though you might not have everything figured out, just to trust and have faith that things will be okay, because in terms of your stability and your resources, what you have, you know, it's like a gamble here. Like, you don't look with your resources and other people's resources, you don't really know what's good, or what if you're taking the right risk, or if you're doing the right thing, if you're cutting the right people off. Same thing with Leo, kind of, because what other people have, you don't want. You kind of focus on what you have, what you got going on. So you're not really easily impressed by other people. Jupiter in your fourth house has placed an emphasis on home life and career. There's strain with responsibility and showing up to your day-to-day life. Mars will retrograde back into your fifth house, penetrating your passionate expression and your ideologies surrounding higher education, spiritual knowledge. And through this expression, you can find new community or a source of wealth to come through, as it directly gazes to your 11th house of gains. Mars rules your 3rd and 10th houses, so the focus this year, 2025, is expression, skill set, experimenting, meaning, career, and legacy. Sidereal Pisces, first quarter. You're the star of the show by the end, okay? But right now, I mean, you're kind of the star of the show for the whole year, low-key. The Rahu Ketu have been in your 1st and 7th house axis. Rahu in the 1st house makes somebody ambitious, okay? You've been utilizing certain relationships and connections to upgrade your self-concept, cutting off certain people as well. You're not focusing on extending so much compassion outwardly now. Now that's kind of like inwardly focused. It's penetrated inside. You're pouring into personal projects, skills, and hobbies with Jupiter in the 3rd, kicking off the year's Mars-Pluto opposition in the 5th and 11th house axis. Your social presence thrives off your creative flair and your expression, your 5th house stuff. So whatever you know, tap into that relentlessly. You have a very creative Q1, Pisces. Saturn in your 12th house the last 2.5 years has put a limit to your self-doubt and self-undoing that you participated in the past. And with Venus soon entering your 1st house with Rahu, you'll begin to see a physical result to the devotion you've had towards your self-expression and passion. You might going to be more attractive. You're going to be more, you might even get invited to different places. You might meet somebody new that'll help elevate your life. It's going to be crazy. You're going through a huge rebrand as well, like Virgo, like Cancer, and the Martians. Especially ending Q1 with that stellium, like I said, in your 1st house. End of Q1, boom, the eclipse is right there. Money can come in big time this year through a focus on property, vehicles, investment. They all become a huge priority, especially when Mars moves back into your 4th house. But make sure you're cutting ties when needed, especially if it's people from your past that pop up and want a piece of your pie, want a piece of what you've been working on. They're trying to see what you're doing, what you got going on. After you've given them chances, you've given them opportunities, they're trying to distract you. There's a lot of distractions that can come up, Pisces, and y'all are so compassionate and loving and all-encompassing that you're like, oh, like, yeah, everybody come back. You're sensitive. No, it's time to cut the crap. Saturn will be coming into your 1st house, and that's going to change a lot about how you feel and how you express, because you're going to feel senses of burden towards other people too, like feeling like you need to help other people out, or other responsibilities coming on your path. Mars rules your 2nd and 9th houses. So there's money to be gained in your philosophy and the way you carry out your journey, okay? Your spirituality, your philosophy, your higher mind, your higher fortune, the knowledge that you come into this world with, which you naturally be knowing, that's all gonna propel you to a new path where you can travel, go, extend your boundaries, and get your fortune in your life. So yeah, that's pretty much Q1, everyone. It's a rebrand. We're reinvestigating, we're revisiting. We try something, it doesn't work. We try something else, it doesn't work. We're like readjusting, realigning. That's what Mars in Cancer is doing. And then when it enters Gemini, it's gonna be gaining new skills, learning new things, having these conversations with people, being able to connect to others in a different way. So on a collective level, we're gonna, by March, end of March, we're gonna see a huge shift in everything I said in the beginning. So feel free to subscribe to my Patreon. It helps the channel out a lot. Follow me on X, on TikTok, even though that might be getting banned, but I don't think so because all this retrograde energy. But yeah, I'm gonna be posting on here a lot more. I'm happy to be back, and I'm gonna come back with a Q2 update as well. We'll go over the transits for all the signs too. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Luna Giselle.